Ever wonder what would happen if, like, the DC universe, took a hard left? Into darkness, I mean. Well, get ready, because that's what we're looking at today. DC's absolute universe.
Yeah.
It's a reality where, our heroes, the ones we know, they face these challenges, right?
Right.
Challenges that make, like, their usual stuff. It makes it look like, I don't know, child's play.
Yeah, yeah.
And we've got it all. Character breakdowns, timelines, even some critical analyses that we've dug up. The works.
Nice, yeah.
So, what are we doing today? I guess the mission for this deep dive is figuring out why this universe, this alternate universe, right?
Right.
Why it even matters and what it tells us about, our favorite heroes, and maybe, just maybe, what it tells us about ourselves.
What's really fascinating, to me at least, about the absolute universe is how it takes these iconic characters, right? Like your Superman, your Wonder Woman, Batman, of course.
Right.
And just puts them through the ringer.
Through a cosmic ringer, yeah.
A cosmic ringer, exactly. It's not just about making things darker or more violent, though.
It does that.
It certainly does that. But it's more about exploring, like, what happens to hope? What happens to heroism when literally everything, and I mean everything, is stacked against you?
Okay, so let's just jump right into it.
Yeah.
Let's start with Gotham.
Okay.
You all know Batman, right? No stranger to a dark alley or 2 or 3 or 100. But this version of Gotham, it's oppressive.
Yeah.
Forget the criminal underworld we're used to.
Yeah.
In this Gotham, there's this gang. They're called the Party Animals, and they rule everything.
Oh, wow.
And their idea of fun, well, let's just say it's a little more intense than the name might suggest.
It's a perfect example, I think, of how the absolute universe, it really messes with what you expect,
Subverts it.
You see a name like Party Animals and you think, what? Like balloons? Birthday cake? But here, in this context, it's scary, man. It shows you, like, society just broke down this world. Even laughter is kind of twisted. Dangerous.
Yeah, and all that bleakness, it impacts how Batman operates. Forget the billionaire playboy thing. This Bruce Wayne, he had a way grittier upbringing.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine a Gotham where, like, instead of being a big shot doctor, his dad, he's an elementary school teacher, barely scraping by.
Wow.
No Wayne Manor, no trust fund, just this constant grinding fight to survive.
That'll harden you.
Oh, yeah. Hardens him from day one.
It's such a departure from the Batman origin we know, right?
Totally.
No fortune, no privilege. It makes you think, what is it at the core that makes Batman? Is it the gadgets, the money? Or is it something, I don't know, something deeper, something forged in all that hardship?
Which brings us to how this Batman, he doles out justice, let's just say. He's not afraid to get his hands dirty.
Oh, really?
And that's putting it lightly. This is a Batman who knows what it's like to live without a safety net.
Uh-huh.
And he brings that rawness, that brutality to how he fights crime.
Oh, he's different.
Unhinged, yeah. And no, he's just more. This is him with the gloves off. It's not pretty.
Yeah, that's where you see what the critics call gritty realism really take hold, right?
Yeah.
He's efficient, way more efficient, no theatrics, and he will absolutely use lethal force. This Batman's been pushed to his absolute limit.
And if you think that's a twist, wait till you get a load of Alfred.
Oh, no. What now?
The gun is the, kindly butler offering sage advice over tea.
Right.
This Alfred, ex-military, hidden in the shadows, doing things, taking on missions. That would probably even give Bruce pause.
Wow. That's a total flip. It's like their whole dynamic is reversed.
100%.
Alfred, who's usually the voice of reason, right? Now he's the one wrestling with his demons, clashing with Batman over his methods. Makes you wonder who the real moral compass is in a world this messed up.
It's like the student became the master, almost. And speaking of unexpected turns, the Rogues Gallery, let's just say they get made over too. Imagine Killer Croc trying to reform, wrestling with his more monstrous instincts to be something better.
Wow. Even in the absolute universe, people try to change.
I guess. Maybe it's just too much, even for them.
It's interesting, though. It's like even in that darkness, there's still room for, I don't know, change, nuance.
And then you've got poor Jim Gordon, stuck trying to uphold the law in a city where good and evil, I mean, the lines are just gone.
Oof. Talk about a thankless job.
It really makes you wonder, though, does hope even exist in a place like that? What happens to those who cling to it?
That's the core question, isn't it? If the regular DC universe is all about hope, this one feels like it's testing it, pushing it to see what's left.
Absolutely. But we can't get too far down the rabbit hole of Gotham just yet.
Right.
We got to talk about the guy behind it all. the mastermind.
Oh, yeah.
Darkseid. And this isn't the usual I'm going to conquer the world villain stuff.
Yeah.
This is different.
Oh, absolutely. Darkseid's playing on another level here, a cosmic chess game with entire realities as his pawns.
And it all starts with a question, and you might be surprised by this.
What's left after you conquer the universe, right? I mean, this is Darkseid. He's done it all. Worlds enslaved, heroes defeated. He's even stared down death itself.
So what happens after you reach the top of the mountain? Is it just boredom for a god?
That's the thing about Darkseid. He's not driven by the same things we are. Power, conquest, those are just tools, means to an end. What he's really after, it's tougher to grasp.
Okay, so in our research, we see him, like, testing himself, right?
Yeah.
He walks through heaven and hell, takes on Blaze, Eclipso, these beings that could squash most heroes like bugs. And he just walks through it all like it's nothing.
It's like he's trying to find something that can actually challenge him. And these beings, these forces of nature, they're just speed bumps on his cosmic road trip.
And this is where we get to the Miracle Machine. Our sources really hone in on this thing.
Yeah, the Miracle Machine. Even Darkseid, he sees this and it's like, oh, this is the ultimate prize. Imagine, right, a machine. Any wish, anything you can imagine, but it's not just some genie, right? This is like rewriting reality itself.
So what is a being who can already reshape reality, who's conquered death? What does He wish for?
He wants to go deeper. It's not about control anymore. It's about understanding. He wants to know, at the most fundamental level, what is power? What is existence? And that search, it leads him to, well, the Spectre.
Okay, for those who don't know, and we've done deep dives on the Spectre before, we're talking essentially the wrath of God.
Yeah, it's like, take the most terrifying force of nature, hurricane, earthquake, volcano, combine them all, multiply it by, I don't know, infinity, and then you're getting close to what the Spectre is.
And Darkseid wants to absorb that, become one with it.
That's the plan. Imagine the kind of power we're talking about here. It's not even conceivable.
And this is where the absolute universe is born.
Yeah.
It's like a side effect of this whole Spectre-Darkseid fusion.
In a way, yeah. By merging with the Spectre, Darkseid, he's not just gaining power, he's rewriting reality. He creates the absolute universe as a sort of testing ground, a pocket dimension where everything, the suffering, the chaos, the hopelessness, it's all amplified.
His own personal ant farm, except
it's our heroes
living through their worst nightmares.
Mm.
But it's more than that, right? He doesn't just watch.
No. Darkseid, he's got the Spectre's power now. He's manipulating events, pushing these heroes to the brink, seeing how they break. What happens to hope when there's nothing left? That's what he wants to know.
Why? Why go through all that? I mean, he's a god, right? Why even bother?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think Darkseid, he's trying to prove something, not just about his own power, but about free will, about the futility of hope in the face of, well, ultimate darkness. Like, does choice even matter if the universe is just predetermined?
Heavy stuff.
It's the kind of stuff that makes this more than just a superhero story, you know? These are the big questions, the ones that keep you up at night.
And speaking of things that'll keep you up at night, our sources mention Booster Gold gets caught in the middle of this whole thing.
Yeah, poor Booster ends up stranded in the absolute universe. Talk about wrong place, wrong time.
For a guy who's usually all jokes and time travel, I bet that's a serious wake-up call.
Definitely not the kind of adventure he's used to.
Okay, but before we get to Booster's misadventures, let's take a step back. We've talked about how this universe happened, what it's like. But why? Why would even Darkseid go to all this trouble? What's the point of a universe built on suffering?
That's the heart of it, isn't it? To really understand, we got to look past the surface. This isn't just good versus evil. This is philosophical, existential even. And that's where things get really interesting.
It's like he's almost saying there's no point to it, you know? Like, if hope is just an illusion, then what does it even matter if the good guys win?
And that's what makes the whole thing so fascinating, right? It takes these characters, these icons, Superman, Wonder Woman, even Booster Gold, and it's like, all bets are off. There's no guarantee of a happy ending.
Just this endless struggle against, well, everything.
Exactly. And that's real, isn't it?
Yeah.
In a way, I mean, we all face those moments where it feels like, what's the point? Makes you think about the choices we make, even the small ones, when we don't know how things will turn out.
You're right. It's like, do we still fight for what we believe in, even when it feels impossible?
And that's the power of a story like this. It resonates because it forces us to confront those hard truths about power, about hope, about how much we can really take.
And we can't forget how this all, like, how the absolute universe impacts, the rest of the DC multiverse.
It's a reminder, right? Even in a world where, good usually wins, there's always that darkness lurking, waiting for a chance to break through.
Like a crack in the mirror almost.
Exactly. You look at the absolute universe, and it's like a distorted reflection of what we know. Makes you wonder what you would fight for if everything was on the line.
And it makes you appreciate those victories, those hard-won victories, even more, knowing what could have happened.
Right. The stakes are just higher, I think, knowing the potential for darkness that's out there.
So as we start wrapping up our deep dive into this, well, this pretty unsettling corner of the DC universe, what do we take away from it? What makes it more than just I don't know, a dark what-if story?
The absolute universe, it's not just about showing us a darker side of DC. It's about making us question what we believe. Like, what happens when our heroes fail? Does hope even mean anything when everything is designed to crush it?
Those are questions that, honestly, they stay with you.
They go beyond comics, really. They're universal.
It makes you think about your own life, your own choices. What do you stand for when things get tough? What are you willing to fight for?
And in a world that feels more and more uncertain every day, those are important questions to ask ourselves.
No doubt. So that's a look at the absolute universe, a place where heroes are pushed to their breaking points, hope is put to the ultimate test, and reality itself is. Well, it's Darkseid's plaything, basically. But as we leave this corner of the DC multiverse, we have one final question for you. If Darkseid, a being of pure control and domination, can create an entire universe, does that mean even the darkest hearts are capable of creation? And if so, what does that say about hope? That's something to think about. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and remember, even in the darkest times, there's always something worth fighting for.